Hello all, good evening, and today Teachers Day. So, on this occasion, I want to say big thanks to all of my teachers and your teachers also. So, let's start the session. At the same time, we are going to learn the most important topics today. And in the last session, I have explained one simple thing in a wrong way. So, I will just correct it today, and we are going to learn few more important topics. Well, let me take the confirmation. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Team, are you able to see my screen? Receive
Yes,
all the
sir.
information?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you ready to learn few more interesting topics today,
Yes, sir.
especially related
Yes,
to
sir.
event loop? Okay. So yesterday I explained one thing in a wrong way, so I will correct it first. Then we can enter into the remaining topics. Okay. So if we have taken this code like console.log start and we have a set timeout and console.log end, right? Okay, yesterday I told you that whenever we invoke this set timeout, it is going to create another execution context, right? That is wrong. It is not going to create any execution context, and it will directly attach the timer. So that I will explain first, and then we can go step by step. I'm just drawing things in a paint. I will explain in detail what happening. So if you see, this is JavaScript runtime environment. Inside that, we have a JavaScript engine, right? Okay. Inside the JavaScript engine, I'm just drawing the call stack only, and this is a web API, and we have a event loop. At the same time, we have a task queue or callback queue, and at the same time, micro task queue. So today we are going to cover what is the importance of this micro task queue as well. So let me write things quickly. This is the task queue or callback queue, and this is I'm just putting like a micro task, and everyone knows that event loop. And this is the call stack. This is the call stack. So here, whenever we have given this JavaScript simple three instructions to the JavaScript. Okay, we know that JavaScript is going to execute line by line. It is a synchronous and single-threaded programming language. Hopefully, you are able to see everything on my screen properly. Okay, just a fine. If you see, whenever JavaScript is going to execute the first line of instruction, first before that it will create a global execution context. So it will create a global execution context, and we have a window object, right? Window object inside that, and it will allocate the memory if we have any variables. But right now we don't have any variables kind of thing, so it will we can focus on the execution part. So it will create an global execution context, and first instruction is console.log start, so that it will print start in the console. So here itself, I'm just putting the console output box as a console. So first it will print start. Okay, after that it is going to execute the set timeout. Okay, set timeout. Yesterday what I told you, a set timeout is again a function, so that I told you that it is going to create an execution context. No, it is not going to create an execution context for set timeout, because it is a part of already a window object. So this web API is nothing but web API is nothing but a API which we can interact with the browser. Okay, this is indirectly a window object. That is directly a window object. Okay, inside the window object we have set timeout and all the timers like set timeout, set interval, and we have the fetch API. Okay, fetch API. I'm going to explain what is fetch API, and even we can see this console is there. Now, console is also, we know, right? Console is also part of a window object. Already we have covered that in a whenever we discussed what is the difference between the document object model and browser object model. So, and one more thing is the document. Okay, document. Do you remember or not? What is the difference between the document object model and the browser object model? Anyone tell me? Do you remember or everyone forgot by chance? No one remember? What is a browser object model? What is a document object model? Okay, Pawan Kumar, do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
Document object model is it is the part of the window object model, sir.
Okay. Okay. Document object model refers to document or a window.
Document object is refers to, sir.
So this is a browser. Suppose this is the browser. Okay. Inside the browser, it will create a very, very big object called window, right? Remember, this window object holds all the APIs, like even you can see alert, console, set, timeout, and what do I say? Document. Okay, document is again a very, very big object. This document is representing our HTML file, and window is representing the browser. Okay, suppose if you open HTML file inside the Google Chrome at the time, that browser refers to the window object, and that document, that HTML file refers to the document object. So this document object is also providing lots of methods and properties for us. So we know, right, document.get element by id, all these kind of things are part of a document object model. And window.alert, window.console.log, window.set timeout. Okay, naturally whenever we are using the console.log, we don't use the window because by default it will refers to window object. So even if you want to cross check one more time, just okay, I just open a file, HTML file, just right click, do inspect. Okay, do inspect, and just enter window. We got a very, very big object, right? This is a browser object model, because this, with the help of this window object, with this properties and methods, we can interact with the browser. So that is called a browser object model. And inside this window we have a very big object again, that is called document. Are you able to see my screen clearly? This document, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Tell me confidently, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, this, whenever we are dealing with methods or properties of this document object, that refers to a document object model. And whenever we are referring directly the methods and properties of the window, then we can call it as a browser object model. Observe carefully. This alert and console.log and set timeout and document and fetch. Observe carefully here. Just observe carefully. There is a fetch, is there now? This is also that we are going to learn in next few minutes. So this is, everything is part of the browser. So here when it comes to our diagram, this web API refers to window object, that means a browser. Okay, this set time mode is part of a browser, fetch is a part of browser, document, once we have loaded HTML file in the browser, then we can call, sorry, as a document object model, and console is also part of window object. So now what happened? So here first, whenever before executing any JavaScript code, it has created a global execution context. In the first line, console.log start, it has printed start, and then whenever we execute this set timeout, it is not going to create any execution context because it's already a part of a web API. So it is going to, apart from that step, everything is same what I have explained yesterday. So whenever we just invoke this set timeout, it is going to tell me, it is going to attach, tell me, no problem, it is going to attach
Type bar.
this callback function to the timer. So if you don't respond, I will lose my confidence whether you're understood or not. That's, if you didn't understand, tell me, I will explain from the beginning, no problem. But if you understand, just at least give me a response, yes or no at least. Or if you didn't understand, just explain me what you didn't understand, so that I can explain easily. Okay, it will attach the timer. So what is the time we have given delay here?
5,000.
5,000 milliseconds.
Tell me.
5,000
5,000
milliseconds.
5000
milliseconds.
milliseconds. 5000 milliseconds. Okay, so then this JavaScript call stack is not going to wait for this callback function, so it is going to execute console.log end. So it will print, and then after 5000 milliseconds means after 5 milliseconds. Okay, once it is completed execution of console.log end, once it executed all the lines in the JavaScript file, what it will do, it is going to remove,
Global execution.
yes, global execution context from call stack. So now call stack is empty. Okay, meanwhile, if 5 seconds completed, this timer, once the timer is completed, so it is going to push this callback function into which one? Task queue
Task
or
queue.
microtask queue?
Task queue.
Task queue. What is the job of event loop?
It is
Check
checking the
whether the
calls.
call stack is empty or not.
Not.
Yes. It will keep on checking call stack is empty or not. Once the call stack is empty, if anyone is there in the task queue, it is going to push that callback functions into
Call
that
stack.
call stack. Again, it will create an execution context for that. Yes, this callback is a function, so that it is going to create an execution context for that, and it will complete that task. What is there inside that callback function? Console.log hello world. So it is going to print hello world. Okay, now tell me, understood clearly or not, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Understood, sir.
Nagendra, Mayur, Niharika, Pankaj, Pavan,
Got it, sir.
Sai Kirti, Shobharani, and Shweta. Okay,
Yes, sir.
Yes,
very
sir.
good. Fantastic. So now we are going to learn much more interesting things. Okay, much more interesting. Okay, I hope you will give correct answers for my next few questions. So just imagine here we have written, okay, 10,000 lines of code. What I'm saying? How many lines of code?
10,000 lines.
10,000 lines. Okay. Just imagine console.log 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. Console.log 1, 2, 3. In the same way, I have written 10,000 lines. So at the time, how it will work? So how it will work? Okay, let me draw it one more time quickly. So here I'm just drawing directly call stack and the web API and microtask queue, the task queue, and event loop. Observe carefully. Here the code is, we have the simple code, few lines, not few lines, we have 10,000 5 lines almost. Okay. So now, so again, we can start from the beginning. So what will happen first? Tell me along with me.
Global execution context will
Global
be
execution.
Yes,
created.
it will create a global execution context. Then it is going to
It is.
execute first line.
It will
What is
print
that?
start.
So it will print
Start.
start. Then it
It
will
will
It will move to the
tell me.
It will push to the
web,
web
web
Yeah,
API.
yeah. It will execute the set time mode. The set time mode is going to attach the callback function to web API, and it will attach the timer. What is the time delay for that timer?
5,000 milliseconds.
Very good, 5000 milliseconds. Okay, it means 5 seconds. Okay, milliseconds. Okay, observe carefully. After that, okay, it is just keep on counting from
Sir,
5000 to 0. Yeah, tell me.
5000 means 5 milliseconds, sir. Not like that.
No, no, 5000 milliseconds means 5 seconds, right?
Ah,
Yeah, that's
okay,
what I'm
sir.
saying. What is your confusion?
No, no, sir. 5000 seconds I had
No,
day.
no, 5000 milliseconds. It refers to 5 seconds. Okay, fine. So now it is going to attach, already it has attached the timer, and then what it will do? Whether this call stack is going to wait for this timer callback function, or it will keep on executing these 10,000 lines.
It
It will
will
execute
keep
10,000 lines.
executing, sir.
Yeah, it is keep on executing these 10,000 lines. Okay. After executing 2,000 lines of code, observe carefully. After executing 2,000 lines of code, for example, so after executing the 2,000 lines of code, this time delay has completed. It went to 0. So then what will happen parallelly? Once it is comes to timer elapsed, it is going to push this callback function to what is
Task
this
queue.
box? Tell me.
Task
Task
queue.
queue.
Yeah, task queue. So now tell me, we are executing 2001 line or 2002 line, whether this event loop is going to push this callback function to the call stack, or it will wait until we execute this 10,000 lines of code.
It will
It
wait
will wait until 10,000 lines.
10,000 lines of code.
Okay, if we have 1 lakh lines of code,
it will wait.
It will
It
wait.
will
it
wait,
will
sir.
wait, right? There is no option. So if we have 10,000 lines of code, it should wait until executing that 10,000 lines of code. And the main important thing is this call stack should be empty. When it is going to be empty? Once we complete execution of
Or
all the lines. So after completing this 10,000 lines of code, even though this callback function came very early, meanwhile we are executing like 2000 lines of code, but still that callback function should be wait in the task queue. So once we complete this 10,000 lines of code, and after that, if you execute console.log of end, so just imagine I said 1 2 3 4, like 1 2, like that, it will print 10,000, and then it is going to print end, and then this is going to be popped out, right? Once we complete all the execution process. So at the time, yeah, after that, this event loop is keep on checking whether the call stack is empty or not. Okay, once the call stack is empty, it is going to
push callback to the call stack.
Steady calls.
very good, very good, very good. So here it is going to create a simple execution context, and it will execute this set time mode, and it will print hello world. Yeah. Now tell me, everyone understood or not, or do you have any questions on this?
Understood, sir.
Clear? So maybe you are thinking that, hey, this is very very simple concept. Why Raghu? Why you are asking these many times, right? So maybe it is very simple for you, but not for everyone. So that's why I want to explain in detail. Okay, very very good. If you understand, it's awesome. So now we are going to learn another important topic. Okay, that is the fetch API. Okay, how many of you heard about this fetch API?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what is that fetch API?
I hear it in React, sir. It will fetch the API.
Okay, just speak loudly. Oh, sorry. Oh my God, I just used the less volume. I don't know how it was recorded. Did you get a chance to hear properly my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, fine. And now tell me, what is fetch API while doing React application?
It will fetch the API, sir.
Okay, what is the
Uh,
job of this fetch API? What is the use of that fetch API?
retrieve the data, I think.
From
API.
where?
No, like I use the dummy API.
Okay,
Uh,
to fetch some information, we are going to use fetch API. So
yes,
from
sir.
where you will fetch that information?
From where?
ఎక్కడి నుంచి తీసుకొస్తున్నావు ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్?
అది సపరేట్ అది ఒక డమ్మీ ఏపీఐ నుంచి నేను తెచ్చుకున్నాను ఆ
Okay,
డేటా అంతా.
దాని ఏమంటాం? What we can call that? Yes, maybe you have done some practice with JSON placeholder, right? You have
Yes, yes,
used
sir.
this one. Okay, what is this? What we can call this one? So you're giving this URL, you are trying to fetch something. So from where you are getting this data?
from another server.
Yes, what we can call that?
Server.
సర్వర్.
That's what I'm asking. Okay. So let's see. Let's explain few important things now. So if you see, Amazon is there. Amazon is there, right? Just for example, Amazon web application is there. So whenever we have just tried www.amazon.com in the web page, okay, what happens? It is going to send
ఏ రిక్వెస్ట్.
request to whom?
సర్వర్.
Through
ఏపీఐ.
okay, API through
ఇంటర్నెట్.
internet. Okay, so just understand this is a server. Okay, server means, suppose if you see, we with the help of Node.js or with the help of Java or any other server-side programming languages, we are going to build an application and we are going to host that application on the server. Server is nothing but a big computer, okay, which is accessible by any other computer in the world with the help of internet. Okay, okay, maybe sometimes servers can, we can provide access only for the employees who are working that company. Okay, there are different things are there. So normally with Amazon servers, so e-commerce applications, once we build an e-commerce application, we are going to place that application, means deploy. Okay, we are going to learn each and everything. Maybe this is very new for what is a deployment, what is a server, what is the API. Okay, all these are very new for a beginner students. Okay, don't worry about that. We are going to learn each and everything in coming days. Okay, it's not possible to explain everything in a single session or one day. Okay, this is the server. So server means here www.amazon.com. Whenever we hit this URL in the browser, నాకు పెడతాను. వెళ్ళి పెట్టు, ముందుకు పెట్టు. So I'm just hitting this one. Okay, Amazon.in. Okay, not .com. Okay, there are lots of difference between what is a .in and .com and .org. Lot of things are there. Okay, of course, whenever we get some time, we are going to discuss that. So if you see what happened here. Okay, this web page. Okay, this is this logos, this HTML file, whatever the images are there, and This all the information is there in my computer or in a server.
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 Server. So all the images and everything. And suppose observe carefully, here we have one HTML file. So that is, for example, index.html file. So, and we are building the all this Amazon big application with the help of JavaScript, and we are using React.js framework, or maybe the original Amazon. I don't know which JavaScript framework they have used. Just for example, even with the help of React, we can build any kind of e-commerce application. Okay. So here, whenever we send a request to the server, it will send us that the home page index.html and the JavaScript files and images and CSS, everything will come to our computer. Like suppose once I have just entered this www.amazon.in, the request has went to the server which is there in USA, or maybe another server in our Gachibowli. Okay, because definitely Amazon is there in Hyderabad, right? So maybe the request went to that Amazon server and it has sent the HTML file. So observe carefully whether it is HTML file or not. Just go and inspect. Observe carefully what it is. What it is.
HTML.
HTML.
End of the day, it is HTML. Okay, HTML file. So it has sent an HTML file and all the CSS and images and everything. We got it to the computer which is there in at my home. Okay, this computer. Okay, we got this. So now observe carefully. Observe carefully. Right now, if I search laptops, okay, and what I'm doing, laptops hundreds under 50,000. So whenever I click on this one, it is going to display all the laptops information. Okay, observe carefully. Laptops, maybe hundreds of laptops are there. Okay, now tell me, before clicking on that button, before clicking on laptops under 50,000, whether Amazon already brought all the laptops information into my computer, or once I click on that laptops under 50,000, again it will send a request to the server and it will get the data. What is the possibility?
Our laptop only, sir. Our server.
Means in the first request itself, it will give all the laptops information, mobiles information, whatever the information in the server, everything will come into.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So okay, so now I'm just going to sign out. What will happen if I click on sign out? Okay, maybe up sign out is very simple. So if I click on continue and if I click on sign in, what will happen?
Log into homepage.
Home page. Okay, what is the process internally? So right now I'm at login page. So whenever I tried first time, it is just giving a login page, right? Login page. In the login page we have user ID and password and one button. Okay, one button. It has given this web page. I just entered my mobile number and the password. If I click on button, what happens whenever we click on this button?
It checks
It sent a
the.
request to server, I think, and check if the username and password is correct or not.
Yes, right. It will send this user ID and password to a server to validate whether this email ID or user ID and password is correct or not, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Even if you don't have an internet connection, it will, you are able to log in and you are able to purchase things. No, right?
No, sir.
That means you should have a connection to the server. So whenever you enter user ID and password and click on that like button, it will send a request to the server and it will check whether these credentials are correct or not. And then if it is correct, so it will send a response. It will send the response that okay, this user ID and password is correct. We can allow him to see the home page. At the time, it is going to navigate to the home page. Okay, fine. So this we are sending a request to the server, right? We are sending a request to the server. Okay, how we are going to send a request to the server? Okay, there are many ways. One way is with the help of fetch API. So with the help of fetch API, we can send. Okay, we are going to give a request. Okay, we are going to send a request. What is the request? Hey Amazon, just I'm giving my user ID and password to you. Okay, and take this request. This fetch API will handle that, and it will send this request through internet to this server. Okay, once this information, that request information reach the server can read that information. Okay, and then it will check in the database whether the user ID and password is correct or not. So then he will send a response. Okay, this is the request, right? This is the request, and he will create another object. He will create another. Don't worry, if you understand 1%, that is enough. Okay, it will send a response. Okay, this is the response. This is the response. This is the response. Okay, again, this server will send a response to the client. The client means our browser. Yes or no? Understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how we can, because this is the browser, how we can send a request to the server? So we are going to take help from which one?
Fetch API.
Fetch API. So we are going to take help from a fetch API, and with, so there are different protocols. Tell me, do you know any protocols?
TCP, UDP.
HTTP or TCP, lots of other things are there. Even I'm not very good at all these things. I know little bit about HTTP protocol. I will explain. I will explain in detail. So how okay, because this fetch API is there. Okay, right now we are not going to learn this HTTP and REST API and all those things. Here we are going to understand if whenever we use the fetch API, okay, whenever we use the fetch API, this fetch API also returns the callback function. So how this browser is going to handle that callback function? Up to that much we are going to learn today. Maybe after 1 month we are going to learn everything. We are going to learn React.js, we are going to learn Node, Express.js and MongoDB, and we are going to rebuild this application. Amazon. Are you ready to learn? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Not similarly, okay, not exactly Amazon, but we are going to build our own application. Okay, one e-commerce application. Of course, everything needs time, right? It's not possible to learn all the things on a single month, because without learning JavaScript, you can't understand React. Without understanding React, you can't build e-commerce applications easily. Okay, fine. So here, okay, how to send a request to the server? Okay, let's see. So right now, because we are talking about the browser and we need to send a request to the server, so that it's better to use the HTML file. Okay, we can use the HTML file. It's going to be very easy. So now I'm going to write the console.log. Same thing. Start. Okay. And if I do console.log end, what will happen? It will print first start and it will print end. We know that it's very, very simple. So if I put a timer, set timeout, and if you provide some callback function, and if you have given some delay, 5000 milliseconds delay. And if you put console.log hello world. So the same thing what we have discussed so far, it is going to execute same thing in the browser, and we will get start, end, and after 5 seconds we will get hello world. Let's see whether it is going to giving the same result or not. So just let me go to the inspect. Let's see the console. So just remove everything and execute one more time. I didn't add any breakpoint. So 1 minute, let me execute one more time. So it has printed start, end, and after 5 seconds it is going to print hello world. Okay, yes or no? Observed or not? Understood or not?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, very good. So now here today we are going to take example that is a fake API or something. Okay, there is a one company, they have created, they are using one server, and they are storing some information in the database. Okay, some information in the database, and if you want to interact with the server, they have provided APIs. So with the help of APIs we can interact with the server. So maybe it's really difficult for you to understand as a beginner. Don't worry, I will explain each and everything in detail in coming sessions. So they will provide some API. Suppose, for example, this server, suppose if we have hosted like www.bbc.com. Okay, for example, bbc.com. Okay, so here in the database we have users, or we have some post information. Okay, so for example, two things: one is the users information, another one is the post information. So if we want to get these details, okay, somewhere we have here, this is our computer, this is another computer, this is another computer. Okay, we can browse this www.bbc.com. So it will provide all the news information. But if you want to get exactly post information by post ID or users information and user ID, if it is not going to restrict with the user ID and password, it simply what will happen, it will it will give a APIs. Okay, API endpoints. Okay, so for example, understand clearly, http colon forward slash www.bbc.com. What you need, this is the API. Okay, this is the API. And if you want to user details, so whenever we have given http colon www.bbc.com to the server, it will give you the a news page. But if you want to get the user details, we should send a request like this. We should send a request like this to the server. That is http colon forward slash the domain name and API, and then specific resource name. If you want to get post, you should replace with the post. Like that, this server will provide the APIs. Okay, in a similar way, right now it's not possible for us to build this kind of server and database and APIs in a 30 or 40 minutes. That's why already some people have created a website. If you see, this is jsonplaceholder.com. Okay, here this is simple HTML page. So if you create any portfolio page like that, www. tvs.com, so that it will give you a TVS information. If you do www.google.com, it will give a Google homepage, right? Here also, here this is a static HTML page. Yes, just providing some information on this, that nothing, that how to use that JSON placeholder. So here observe carefully, this server name is jsonplaceholder.com. So how http www.bbc.com, here also we have one URL. So if you want to get some user details from this JSON placeholder server, he has clearly mentioned the endpoints. Okay, so don't worry if you don't understand. So he said, so if you see, this is the endpoint information. So host and users. Okay, whenever if you give this request to the server, it is this server is going to, okay, observe carefully, don't think that it's a static one. So what is happening here? What is happening here? So this is the server and data is there in the database, okay, tables or columns or document format, whatever it is. So the information is like users table is there and the post table is there. So there is a lot of information. So now if you send a request to this server, hey server, I want user details from your database. So it will send a response. It will send a response. So now if you want to send a request to the server, there is some rules and regulations, there is some script. So that's what we are going to use. So here he has given clearly, so how to use the fetch API. Fetch is a built-in thing in a browser. Okay, how this console.log is a part of console.log is a part of window object. Again, fetch is also a part of window object. So now I just copied and given a code. Okay, right now you don't need to break your head because this is a promise. Okay, whenever we send a request to the server, it will return a promise. Okay, how many of you heard about promises in JavaScript? How many of you heard about, how many of you learned promises in JavaScript? No? No one? Pavan, Mayur, Pankaj?
Little bit, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir. Same.
Whatever. We are going to learn in detail. So for now, just imagine the callback function. Okay, just a callback function. Okay, it is how, because the set timeout is going to attach the callback function, right? In a similar way, whenever we send a request to the server, it will send a promise, but end of the day, it is a callback function. Okay, internally, it's a callback function. So here, now we need to. So let's see whether we are getting the response or not. Okay. So now tell me, just guess. There is a start, there is a hello world, and there is a console.log of JSON. Console.log of JSON. Okay, here I'm instead of JSON, I'm just giving a simple text message. Hello fetch API. Okay, hello fetch API. And just guess um, which one will print first and which one print last, like just like that. Tell me. What is the output for this program? Okay, just understand this, how this callback function is going to execute. Here also same thing, this callback function, because once we send a request to the server through internet, it should go to the server, it should get the data. Once the data comes to the client machine, then it is going to execute this callback function. Just guess it. Just guess it. What is the possibility? Understood my question or not, first of all?
I think it will be like start, end, then hello fetch API, then 5,000. Sorry, hello world.
Okay, you're saying
Uh,
start, end, hello fetch API, and hello world.
yes, but if the server is busy, I think it will take time to fetch API.
Okay, fine. Let's see. Okay, anyone? How many of you are supporting Mayur, or if you have a different answer, just tell me. Or maybe you're thinking that Raghu, without explaining everything, how can we answer? Okay, no problem. Let me execute this one. Then I will explain in detail. So just refresh. What happened? Start, end, hello Fetch API, and then hello world. How fast we got the response? Observe carefully. I'm just refreshing one more time. Oh, this time, what happened to the code? Still didn't receive the data. Uh-huh. Let me do one more time. I don't know what's the problem. Start, end, hello world. Okay, why it is not printing? Oh, some error is there. Connection closed. Fail to fetch. Is there any internet issue? Okay. Are you able to see my screen, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't know
Sir,
what's up. Tell me. I will do one thing. Just copy this. I will just close in this tab. I will open. Okay, we can discuss that problem later. Okay, just inspect. Go to the console. Let me try one more time. If you see, we got hello fetch API, right? Very fast. So because at least internet connection is good, that's why we got the result very fast. So now if I without putting this hello fetch API, if I put this JSON, just tell me what will happen.
Data will print.
Yes. So whatever the data we are getting from the server, that JSON placeholder server, what is the request we have given? JSON placeholder ipcode.com to-dos one. Okay, we have given only one. Okay, let me just remove this. Okay, to-dos. So I need all the to-dos. Okay, so let's say. So how many items are there?
200.
200 items are there. Then it is printing hello world. So which one is coming first? Fetch API or hello world?
Fetch API.
Fetch API.
It's a
But we have given set timeout first, right? But why it is printing fetch first? Okay, that is where we should understand the importance of microtask. Okay, got it? Because this is a set timeout, this is a callback function, right? This is a callback function. This is the fetch API. Again, it is giving a callback function. Maybe we can say that this is very fast. That's why it came to task you first, right? Okay, don't worry. Now I will explain what will happen with the fetch API. So do you need a break or shall we continue? Continue?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
So I can finish in 10 minutes, don't worry. Okay. So this is very important thing. So again, I'm just drawing the JavaScript environment, and this is the call stack. This is the web API. We have micro task queue, and we have a task queue. We have an event. And what is the code here? We have 4 instructions. One is which one I'm using. I'm just using a small font size, but I hope you know what we have written inside that. So now, first what will happen before executing the code? Tell me.
Global execution
Global
context.
execution code.
It will create a global execution context. Fantastic. And then it is going to execute console.log start. So it is going to print start in the console, right? Then it is going to execute
Set timeout callback function.
set timeout, and we have given 5000 milliseconds so that it is just attach the callback function for 5000 milliseconds, and it is going to do a countdown to 0. So it's there in progress. So after that, it is going to execute fetch API. Fetch is also a part of a window, right? So how this console and set timeout, console set timeout and fetch, okay, all these things are part of the web API. So what will happen here, whenever we send a request, because whenever we are giving some URL endpoint, okay, to a fetch API, and it will form a request and it will send to the server. So this is the browser, and here I'm just a small box I'm just drawing. This is a server, okay, just imagine this is the server. So we are sending a request to which one? Which one?
Server.
Server. So whenever we call this fetch API, it will send a request to the server. So if the internet connection is very good and if the server is very fast, it will send a response quickly. Okay, response callback function or a promise quickly. Okay. So now observe carefully. Okay, we have sent a request to server. Then what will happen? Whether it will wait for a server response or it is going to execute console.log end.
It won't
Is
wait for.
Okay. For example, just imagine to get the response from the server, it will take 2 seconds. Okay, 2 seconds. You know, tell me whether this call stack is going to wait for these 2 seconds or it is going to execute console.log end.
It's going to execute console.
End. So JavaScript is not going to wait for anyone. Time and JavaScript are not going to wait for anyone. So what it will do? It will execute console.log of end. Done. After that, what will happen? It is going to remove
Global execution code.
global execution context from the call stack. Done. So after 2 seconds, because here this callback function we have given a timer like a 5 seconds, and this response from the server we have expecting that 2 seconds. So this is also it is a promise, but for now just understand it is again a callback function from server. So now tell me what will happen once you got the response. This web API is going to push this callback which is coming from the server to a task queue or micro task queue. Tell me. Tell me, choose your answer. Micro task queue or task queue? It is going to push that callback function into. Tell me where.
Micro task queue.
Micro task queue. So it is going to push those callbacks or promises which are coming from the server with the help of fetch API are going to push into the micro task queue. Okay. Now, okay, just imagine, okay, if you have 10,000 lines of code, it's still executing, okay, still executing, still executing. Okay, just imagine, still executing. This call stack is busy by executing console log 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, 10,000 lines. So now, after 2 seconds, we got this callback from the server, and after 5 seconds, after 5 seconds, we got this normal callback which we have given with the help of set timeout is also completed. Now tell me whether it will go to task queue or micro task queue.
Task queue.
Task queue. So whenever we attach any callback function to the set timeout or set interval, it is going to push those things into the task queue, and fetch API is going to push that callback function into micro task queue. So just remember, micro task queue is the VIP line. What is that? VIP line. So if you, how many of you went to Tirupati? Tirupati temple. Okay, most of you, right? So whenever VIPs came, they will block normal people, right? This is like Janata. What we can call? No, normal general queue. Okay, open queue or whatever general queue. So if you see, okay, this call stack is keep on executing all the instructions. Okay, that is completed, and it is going to remove the global execution context from the call stacks. Okay, now event loop is ready. Okay, event loop is waiting for the moment that when this call stack is going to empty, I'm going to take some action. So now tell me, this event loop is going to push this callback to call stack first or this one?
Micro
Right.
task queue callback.
Why?
Because it
Because
is a
it's a VIP
VIP.
line.
Yeah,
VIP line.
simple. Yeah, because it's a VIP line. Okay, normally in a browser there is no word called VIP, but it is high priority. Okay, so even though we have this callback and we have this callback, it is going to, what is the highest priority? It is going to push this callback function to the call stack, and it will execute that one. Once it is completed, once it is completed, it is going to push from,
Task queue callback.
then it is going to execute it. Tell me, understood or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So if you understand, can I ask one more question? Because there are lots of twists and turns are there in JavaScript. Okay. Can I? It's a very simple one. Actually, you can
Yes,
Yes,
answer
sir.
sir.
easily. So observe carefully. Observe carefully. So here the main thread. Okay, we have only one thread. It is busy by to execute some lines of code. Okay. Meanwhile, okay, we have sent many requests to the server, and we have sent many callbacks with the help of set timer. Okay, for example. So observe carefully. Observe carefully. Here we got one person into the VIP line. Okay. For example, for understanding purpose, right now the time is 7:03. Okay, 7:03. One person came. Okay. At 7:04, another person came to this one. Okay, observe carefully, another. And 7:05 here we got another one person, and here right now we got three people at next minute. Observe carefully. So now at this point of time, this execution global execution context is gone. Observe carefully. This global execution context is gone. Now tell me whether this event loop is going to execute these two callbacks, or first he will push this one and then this one, then this one, like this one. Understood my question? So So just imagine this is number 1. Okay, I'm just giving a numbers. Okay, for understand reference, for reference I'm giving a number. Okay, this is not based on the priority. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and here 5 is there. Here 6 is there. These are the token numbers, but these people came into the general queue and these people came into the VIP line. Now tell me whether it is going to execute. Okay, tell me which callback is going to execute first.
One,
One, sir.
1, 3, 2, 4, 5,
Okay,
6.
1 is done. After that,
Three.
3 or 2?
3, sir.
3,
3,
because
sir.
it's the VIP line, they should complete, right? So here observe carefully. Before moving this callback function, another person came into the VIP line. Okay, his number is 7. Okay, now tell me. So 3, you said correct. It will go to the 3. So it will complete. Okay, now whether it is going to execute 2 or 7.
It will execute 7.
It will execute 2.
Okay, Pankaj is saying 2. Okay, and Mayur is saying 7. What about remaining people?
7, sir.
Yeah, it will give a high priority for that VIP line. Even though this person came after some delay, before these people are waiting from 10 minutes or 20 minutes, 1 hour, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So if someone is there in the VIP line, he will go first. Done. So before executing this one, another person came. Token number 8. Then what will happen?
Yeah, it will be executed.
8.
It will.
On. So now, oh my, by God grace, no VIPs are there. So now there is a chance. So this person is going to push this callback function. This is done. Now this callback function, this is done. So now at this moment, another person came. The token number 9 into VIP line. Now tell me whether it is going to execute 9 or 5.
9, sir.
9, sir.
9 and then 5 and then 6. Oh my God. Understood na? What you understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What you understood?
Micro task you have high priority.
Higher priority.
Higher priority. We should get that VIP respect. Then you will get a lot of priority. I'm just kidding. Okay. So in JavaScript, because why it is giving more priority for microtask queue? Tell me. Any reason in general?
If we need any server response or if we need to fetch any API, so that, but I think.
Yeah, naturally, that is very important, right? We are getting some information on the server. Once we got the response, we should display that information in the web API in the form of table or something else, right? So that is very important for us. So this, whenever we are going to use this set timeout, whenever we are executing something, naturally those are low priority. We can execute later. There is no problem with that. That's why it is going to give a high priority for the VIP line. Okay. Right now, just don't use VIP line. Don't say in interviews that this is the VIP line. What is that? This is micro task queue,
Micro task queue.
and this is task queue
Task
or
callback.
Callback queue.
Okay. This is enough for today. If I explain more, it will be evaporate from our brains. Now, tell me one more time. Understood or not clearly? Sincerely, genuinely tell me.
Yes, sir.
Understood,
Understood.
sir.
Understood, sir.
What,
Understood.
what about Sweta? Okay, if you miss yesterday's session, I don't know whether you guys understood or not. Okay, hopefully most of you attended yesterday's session, and now I'm suggesting everyone what? Just guess what I'm going to suggest. Just go to Namaste JavaScript. Okay, Namaste JavaScript and event loop. Okay. So now just go and watch this 47. Okay, not
So you want to be a
immediately.
software engineer
Not
at Google? Go
immediately.
to Algo.
After 1 hour or 2 hours, just watch this video. You will get more and more information. Okay. Only one thing I missed, that is event listeners. Okay, event listeners, that I will explain later, don't worry. Event listeners also say similar like a set time mode. Okay, similar like a set time mode. Apart from that, everything is same. Okay, first of all, before entering to the event listeners, I need to explain what is event listeners, what are the button events or different events are there in the browser. So I will give an overview on that, then we can discuss in detail. Okay, okay, fine. I'm stop sharing. Yeah, if you have any questions, ask me. Otherwise, you can drop off and enjoy the day.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye. I hope you guys understood. If not, just ping me in the comment section that explain me one more time. I'm ready to explain. Thank you.